Welcome to AP Workshops, welcome to an addendum to our walk round. Somebody made a really valid point the other day that, that basically we're showing the bikes down here, we've seen Amber's bikes and we've done all of these, but what we've never done is explained what these bikes are. So welcome back. This basically, don't worry, this is perfectly safe where we're at. I know it's it looks a bit sketchy from from where the guys are standing down there, but this basically is perfectly safe, don't worry. So this here is the Goddard bike. Let me explain a little bit about the history of this particular bike. So this is a replica of the World Superbike that Peter Goddard rode in 2000.
Wow.
This bike was originally built by a friend of mine by the name of Nick Stannard. Nicky boy, if you are watching, I know you watch, mate. We look, Nicky boy, Nicky boy. So anybody, if you want to go on our Facebook groups or anything along those lines, we all know Nick. He is absolutely, he's a dear, dear friend of mine and an absolute legend. And he built this bike. Pretty much a no expense spared bike as it goes when it was built. It's basically built around a stock 98 frame and engine, but the running gear is pretty much different, and it was built sort of with like I said, as a kind of not a replica but a tribute bike, if you imagine. So stock 98 engine, Öhlins forks. The calipers alone are probably worth the entire sort of, if you imagine it, sort of, when they were bought new, they were kind of like the entire country's deficit, financial deficit, they were that expensive. Brembo master cylinders, front and rear, that kind of stuff for the clutch master cylinder, everything, rear sets, it took an absolute eternity to build. So basically we did that. Nick decided it was time to sell, so he was going to break it apart. I said, we're not doing that, not in any circumstances.
Not on my watch.
So I actually bought it from him. This then turned into my track bike. We did a couple of seasons of riding on this as it sits with this in this particular coloration. So it is an absolute sort of iconic piece of AP Workshops, or as we were previously called, Aprilia Performance history. So I absolutely love this bike as it goes. So this one is one that will stay pretty much like the next bike. It will stay with us forever. So forgive me if the lighting isn't quite as good over here, this kind of thing, but this here, this probably is the most significant motorcycle in this company's history. So this bike is a 2003 RSVR. This was the press bike from Aprilia when I used to work at Aprilia UK. This was the press bike. I unpacked this out of the crate in 2003. So any of the bike magazines that you see in sort of like from 2003, so advertising and road testing an RSVR, this was the bike that they actually used. So it got absolutely mullered. It got beaten up by many a journalist. In fact, I still see the journalists floating around now when I was having to look after it and stuff, and they sort of, and when I asked them about it, they were like, yeah, great bike. In fact, I think I crashed that one. You probably did. It's been down the road a few times. But this bike was the press bike from 2003. It got sold on in 2004 when it was no longer a relevant model. I found it again in 2007. I bought it back in 2007, restored it because I found it in a shed stroke garage thing about 20 miles away from here. And I found it crashed because it had been crashed at Donington in pieces. Found it, rebuilt it. Rode it as my own bike for a long time.
Whoa! That was so cool!
Basically, we used this bike as the test bed. So this is the bike that we actually used to find out whether you could anodise wheels. This was the bike that we designed and developed all of the pistons for our big bore kits. If you are interested in a 1060 big bore kit, have a quick look on the website. All the information for that's there, no problems. But we developed the airbox kits, the modified collectors that Mark Red Rat Bike does. All of that kind of testing was done on this bike. Exhaust collectors, exhaust shapes, modifications, all of that kind of stuff, all tested. This bike has done an absolute mile after mile on dynos. tyre testing that we did, any of the recommendations, airbox kits, rear sets. If you have a look at the rear sets on this particular bike, for those of you who've got rear sets that we've bought rear sets from us, basically this is set number 0001. This was the one literally when the, if you imagine the sort of the original design was drawn up on a cigarette packet kind of thing, and that was these were the first set that ever came out from that. So we did that. This bike has just absolutely been sort of beaten to within an inch of its life for the majority of its life. We actually ended up putting nitrous on this bike, and if you have a quick look just down here, the bottle's still there, so it's still got a £2 bottle on this. So I think when we first got the bike, we ended up on one dyno without any modifications before we started tuning the engine at 112 brake horsepower, and we ended up, I think I've still got the dyno sheets for it from all those years ago. We ended up unfinished, unfettled, just on nitrous, straight nitrous and fuel. I think it ended up at 170 brake horsepower at the back wheel, which is quite a significant bump.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. I've never been this far away from home.
So this is the bike that will absolutely go into my grave with me. This, like I said, it's been with me since 2003. We did have a bit of a separation, but it will stay here. And obviously this is the bike. We kind of did this one and the RS250 in the same paint schemes to kind of sort of promote the company, that kind of thing. But it will stay with me, definitely. So welcome to the last bike on the display that we've got coming up here. I've not moved because this could get a bit sketchy up here, but I've not moved. But this is the Foul Climber. So this basically, people sort of walk in here, look up at these bikes, and they look at this and go, what the hell's that? Kind of curling their face up. This here started life as a 2001, I believe, something like that, 2000 Falco. This bike isn't mine. This bike belongs to Ben Wilkins. So Ben Wilkins is a good friend of mine that basically used to be a journalist in the UK, has now moved out. He's moved out his way out to New Zealand. But we built this bike to help Ben launch his assault on the NHCA. I think it's NHCA, National Hill Climb Association. Basically, he was trying to be a hill climb champion, and basically he did. He did really well at it because Ben's an absolute lunatic.
Yes! That's awesome!
I haven't seen him for about a year now, but because, like I said, he is in New Zealand. But this is the Foul Climber. This is the famous Foul Climber. So, like I said, people work in and they kind of turn their nose up at it and go until we say to them, basically, this bike still holds 2 British records, as far as I know, so far. I think this bike is the fastest bike ever to go up Gurston Hill, and also is the fastest bike ever to go up Shelby Walsh Hill Climb. So, literally, maybe not quite just down to the bike, because Ben is an absolute lunatic when it comes to riding as well. He's an absolute legend, but this bike, this literally just looks like it's come off of the racetrack or come out the skip, basically. Is actually a pretty historic Aprilia in this kind of way of things. I absolutely love it. I am going to fight Ben when he comes back to say we're going to keep it. If he ever does come back, that's it. But it's his bike and that's it, perfect. But it is absolutely beautiful. So this is, you can look it up as well. But if you have a look on the YouTube, you think you can still find Ben's YouTube video of his run up Shelby Walsh. This is the Foul Climber. So that's it. That's the addendum over with to the walk around. Like I said, really, really valid point. People said, what about the bikes that you want on display? I absolutely, completely forgot about them. That's it. Thanks very much for joining us. I just want to say a couple of things. Basically, massive thanks to our sponsors. Basically, if you look at Motul Oils, RST Clothing, ARAI Helmets, the guys at GB Racing, their engine covers are the best. Thank you so much to those guys. We really, really appreciate it. I just personally want to say massive thanks to the guys that work here as well. We are absolutely flat out at the moment. These guys are amazing. They're doing their best. The website, if you have a quick look at the website, www.apworkshops.co.uk. I think it's up, it should be along the bottom along there. If you have a quick look at that website, Ross is absolutely going out of his way to sort that out. Have a quick look on the Facebook page. There are deals coming up all the time. Have a look at the banners on the website. They will have a look. If you want to get in touch, you can get in touch with us, no problem. Sales@apworkshops.co.uk, no problems. Any online sales that go out of the UK, have all of the UK taxes removed. It's just a quick one that I wanted to say, because I think I've had a couple of phone calls from people who have been outside of the UK talking about taxes and about sort of buying parts from us, no problems. Anything that goes outside of the UK, all UK taxes are removed. No problem whatsoever. If you want to support us, have a quick look on the website again. The merch we've got, absolutely. We've got t-shirts, we've got hoodies, we've got hats, we've got everything along those lines. Have a quick look. That'd be a wonderful way to support us. Thanks very much for joining us. We really, really appreciate all of your time. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Take care of yourself and we'll talk to you soon.